This is Rating Descending.
where we watch IMDb's Worst 250 so you don't have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
My name is Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched Setup. A group of friends become involved in a potentially deadly diamond heist. Let's watch.
Succinct.
I've been aching for some good...
Say it. Say it, you coward.
I've been aching for a good piece of movie to get me through these dark, cold winter evenings, but now I have gotten through the wilderness and I'm ready to emerge and re-enter society.
What? Well, I'm just aching for some bacon.
Ah, that's some bitch-ass bullshit.
Well, right before we recorded this episode, we're currently recording it.
We had a really funny chat. It was so...
We did.
Oh my God.
It was like a good hour long. We talked about the movie. Then we
Yeah.
gave it our ratings. What's left to talk about?
No, I do,
I think
guys.
I'm done for the night, to be honest.
I think-
I'm knackered.
Ready to wind down.
100%. I think I'm going to call it, but I've had a really good time. Thank you for your time here, guys.
Guys,
thanks for listening.
Thanks for at least
You're all
listening.
really supportive.
I really appreciate it.
yeah.
I'm kind of going to bitch out on content this week, but
Yeah,
next
I think
week.
this has probably been enough, right? You've heard our voices. They're very soothing.
I know we promised 5 years, but this is good, right?
This is good. This is fine. I think
To me-
do we have to show up anymore?
To me, 206 is the natural end point.
I reckon. I keep it at a solid 0-0. You know what I mean? 0-0-0-0. Oh, I was thinking about the timestamp. I thought we were 2 minutes and 6 seconds in.
What?
You were like,
We're
yeah,
not
that's
even that.
Ah, fuck.
It's 2 minutes.
Delete that. Right before we started recording, I showed Michelle a zippy new car that I got.
Oh my God.
And she was absolutely shocked and horrified because I was very kindly given this car by my partner's parents.
Yeah.
Describe it, Michelle.
Well, to put it succinctly, seeing it alone made me declare Abigail a class traitor. It's the kind of car that you would drive across the Italian countryside, already 3 glasses in, riding gloves in hand, and when the cops pull you over, they say, "Nice car, just wanted to let you on your way, fellow white man."
You're actually not allowed to enter the car without a headscarf wrapped around,
Yes.
pair of sunnies on, and the wine that you're drinking definitely has to be some kind of $500 champagne.
No, I could
By the
feel
flute.
the car sneering at me for I'm not well bred enough to be allowed in.
It's not that. It's not a sports car. It's just a little Fiat, but it's very fancy.
Well, it has
looking.
white leather interior.
Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? That's too much for me.
It's pretty fancy.
When I put my little fucking lower to middle class hands on it, it just burns my skin straight through.
The resale value on your car is triple what I paid for my car.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, thanks guys for the gift. I'm going to use this. And then I just fucking flog it on Gumtree.
Side note of the resale value of your car being triple my car is already triple what I bought it the first time around.
Nice. You've had an interesting run with cars.
Yeah, well, I just really like a good Subaru Forester 2004 XS.
We get it. You're gay. Stop rubbing our noses into your queer agenda. It's actually disgusting.
I remember having a lot of friends in Sydney. No brag. No, I'm kidding.
You've
I
got
don't remember
friends?
having a lot of friends in Sydney.
Oh.
You don't have to be surprised, though. I remember having friends in Sydney and I was trying to let them know, I'm like, hey, Subaru is notably a lesbian car. And a lot of them were like, oh, I've never heard of that skirt. And I'm, huh. And then I moved to Melbourne and I've seen more Subaru Foresters than I've ever seen in my life.
I've never seen a man drive a Subaru Forester. It's always been some fucking 20 to 30-year-old woman with
And her wife.
brown hair and a fringe.
Hey.
Always.
Well, it's just me. You've only ever seen me drive.
Hang on, but that's a different car and she looks slightly different.
One day we will return to the Michelle Cube. There we will decide the fate of all the other names.
What are your motivations here on Earth, Michelle Clones? What is your ultimate goal?
That is the thing. We are from Earth.
Oh.
We are just from a different Earth, you could say.
Oh my God. Tell me more. Sorry, hang on. We'll just go to commercial and we'll be right back.
Okay.
And we're back.
That was quick.
Yeah.
One would think we came from the distant future with our technology. But I am here to tell you, we come from the distant past. Here to change the future so that it doesn't repeat the mistakes of the Michelle past.
I feel that. Now, you've been on a new film with Quentin Tarantino recently. We've seen some of the press mock-ups. That's been fascinating.
Yes. He was great to work with. Really into my feet, though.
We've actually got live footage and photos. Play the clip.
Oh, I need you to stop, Leonardo DiCaprio. You've gone too far at doing crime drama in a 30s pastiche sort of way, but using a modern sort of filmmaking pop context.
I'm Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, this is your bit, man.
What? I was Jimmy Fallon, man.
What?
On my talk show.
Do Jimmy Fallon, then.
I can't.
Okay, I'll do... Hey, it's me, Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm here doing crime. Oh boy, I gotta stop.
We gotta cut this whole bit. It went absolutely nonsensical. So down the drain.
Hey, speaking of down the drain, we watched Setup this week, and it was unbelievable.
I actually really enjoyed myself because it was the film I always wanted to watch in this experiment.
Yes, I think we finally hit somewhat the point that I thought that this whole list was going to be.
I wouldn't call this an experiment. Really, what we're doing is a test of will and determination.
Yes.
It's pushing two people to the absolute edge. But it's very fulfilling when you come across films like Setup.
Yeah. It is like... to pull from my notes way too early, it is a student film with millions of dollars. It
was also direct to DVD, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what I'd heard about it because I've heard of the Setup before.
It's incomparably bad, like measurably worse than almost anything we've done so far. I think too, I was given where we've been at, shockingly high in the list. Yeah. Very high rating for what it is.
But there was a couple of things it was sort of doing, right?
No.
Kind of.
No. There was some things it was doing as badly as other things on this list. And in comparison, that was good. For the rest of this movie. It's untouchable.
Look, I've never disliked genre more than I disliked it here because it was just trying to do so many hammy action tropes and it made me just hate action films.
This movie feels at once like it was written by someone who has exclusively watched action movies and nothing else, and they've watched every single action movie, but they have not a single creative spark in their body.
Yeah.
But was directed by someone who once heard of an action movie.
I think it was someone that has definitely watched Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And
No, they've watched Boondock Saints, which is just doing Quentin Tarantino badly
there's
already.
There's literally a scene where a guy shoots himself through the head accidentally and they're like, fuck, we gotta get rid of the body. And I was like, fuck off.
That was in my notes. I was like, someone's seen Pulp Fiction. Fucking, it's not even to do with the plot. At least in Pulp Fiction, it was a driving force of that third segment.
Absolutely ridiculous.
There's so much to unpack with this movie. I want to get into some of the details, but I also want to save some of them for the end because there's so much weird shit about the making of this movie.
I think you should give us the overview straight away.
Yeah, I'll just go right into it then. Now, little note with the overview. I watched this movie and I had to do further research into what the plot was because
Okay, good.
I cannot tell you what happened.
I was a bit concerned because I kind of came in here being like, I know I watched this film 3 hours ago, but I don't know what happened at all.
Yeah,
at all.
If you, the listener, are confused by my outline, just know I'm trying my best, but I was confused while writing the outline.
Give her a fucking break, guys, all right? Just had a rough time.
I was trying to write it, and I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Okay. Sonny, Dave, and Vincent are 3 friends in Detroit who have a plan to steal $5 million in diamonds. However, just as they finish the heist, Vincent betrays them, killing Dave and leaving Sonny for dead. Sonny manages to survive and seeks out the assistance of Biggs, a dangerous mob boss, to help get revenge on Vincent. Biggs assigns Sonny a guard to retrieve $2 million, but the guard kills himself accidentally, and Sonny leaves with the money. Vincent and his sister Mia try to find and kill Sonny, but fail, and in the process, Mia is killed by the original owner of the diamonds. Sonny takes Biggs' money and stashes it. He then goes back to Biggs and accuses Vincent of having stolen it. They head over to Vincent, who denies having taken the money before a shootout erupts, killing everyone but Sonny and Vincent. Sonny chases him down, and Vincent reveals that he needed all the money from the heist to protect his father in prison, who, whilst in prison, is being a real jerk, so people want to kill him.
Okay, I did not realize that was Vincent's dad.
Yeah, that's what the whole third act was about.
At all.
Sonny decides to spare him and leaves him alive but injured and returns back to Detroit.
And in the end, who's the guy that gets shanked in the prison?
That's the dad. That's Vincent's dad.
Does Sonny order that hit?
No. The whole thing, so the dad is in prison. I don't know why he's in prison. He's just in prison. He did a whole thing at the beginning where he like beats the fuck out of that guy and he gets put in what's it called when it's just you? Solitary confinement. Yeah. He gets put in solitary confinement, and so because of that, Vincent knows that he's going to get killed when he comes out of solitary confinement. So he's trying to bribe the warden to keep his dad in solitary confinement so he doesn't die.
I got
but
you.
The warden wants like millions of dollars.
Right.
I guess.
I really did try to pay attention here, but I was resisting the urge the whole time to look up the plot because I wasn't allowed to. This is your movie.
Yeah.
But I wanted to so desperately just so I could see something written that would tell me what the fuck was going on.
Like I said, like I looked it up and I still have very little. I have no idea what Mia was doing.
Mia confused me the whole time, especially because at one point I thought Mia was the woman on the ground that was looking at Sonny when they first did the bank heist.
No, that was Mia.
That was Mia.
Yeah, so the whole... No, wait. Was it?
I swear to God, that wasn't Mia.
Because there was the woman in the Uma Thurman Bob who worked at the diner and was like, I'm a singer. And I'm like,
that
fucking
was
every
amazing.
trope. Doesn't
that was
come
incredible.
back. So weird.
Good things are coming to you. I know I'm going to make it. How do you know you're going to make it? Because I pray every night. I'm going to be a singer.
This movie is thickly Catholic.
Yeah. This film had no love in it. It was just tropes after tropes after tropes. I could almost feel that the screenwriter was like, yeah, that'd be sick and that's a sick idea. But it just doesn't work as a film. You can't do hackneyed things and not have anything fresh about it. It took itself so seriously.
I think this is the kind of movie where when writing Mia, the writer, while writing the character and how strong she was for like punching people, drew a crude picture and then came over it. Like it has that sort of energy through.
I almost know. I know that in the script it's like Mia, slim, beautiful, but doesn't know it. E-cup tits.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's got such a weird fucking energy. Like, sorry, I just reread one of my notes I was about to read out, which is this dialogue was written by a 15-year-old and performed by 13-year-olds, and I stand by that.
Nice.
It has the pure, unfiltered adoration for action movies that, like, teenage boys who haven't quite hit puberty have. You know?
What freaks me out about these films is that sometimes there's an occasional moment or, like, line of dialogue where I'm like, that would be good in a regular film. Like, that would be fine.
When?
In this film, there was, like, 1 or 2 lines of dialogue where I was like, like, I can see how that'd be a good quip if this was in a good film. And I'm like, it's almost disheartening because I'm like, yeah, these people, there was an essence of someone trying here and like putting something good, something tiny and like, and decent onto paper and it's still not paying off.
Yeah.
It was just a very, it's sad because I think I worry when I watch these films because I'm like, I could easily write these, and that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Do people know that they're writing bad films when they're writing bad films? Do they know that they're selling out?
I don't know if these guys did.
Do you know who wrote it?
Yes, I have a lot of stuff about who made it.
Who made it? Who's behind this fucking disaster?
Well, I want to get into that in the trivia because I thought it was so buck wild. But one important thing for right now is that Curtis Jackson, this is his second appearance on the list. He's the lead, but he also helped produce it.
So this is the second 50 Cent film.
Yeah. Well, no,
We're at $1.
Sorry, he wasn't. He hasn't. This is his first appearance on the list. He wasn't in Escape Plan. He was. Oh no, what
He was in Escape Plan.
Oh, I'm thinking of how Vincent D'Onofrio was just in a flashback. He was in Escape Plan, but barely.
Yeah, he was in there for a couple of scenes. He was part of the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
I'll repeat my joke. So we're at $1.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I like it.
Thank you. I'm dishing you up a little humble serving of comedy, and you're just turning it back.
No,
You're like, there's a hair in my comedy.
That's me.
I'm gluten intolerant. I'm giggle intolerant. You know.
I'm giggle intolerant. Oh, I'm full already on these.
Is this
chuckles.
chuckle free? Because if not, it's not for
these
me.
chuckles kind of get me bloated. Have you got anything more subtle, like a smirk?
And then Jamie Lee Curtis comes in with a little pot of Activia, and she's like, "Well, have you tried my delicious yogurt?"
Terrible Jamie Lee Curtis. She sounds more like this. Have you tried Activia yogurt?
Brilliant. Now do Michael Caine.
It's me, Michael Caine. Rootin'est, tootin'est boy in the West.
All right, Steve Coogan.
Hello, hello, hello.
Harry Styles.
Oh.
Sean Connery.
It's the quickening.
Nicole Kidman. Kylie. Kylie, but higher. Kylie, but lower. Demon Kylie. Angel Kylie. Little Kyle of wool. Soft Kylie. Fluffy Kylie. Where were we?
I was going to say that this movie was like a YouTube video from 2009, but for 90 minutes.
It was so saturated. Why was it? Let's just talk about the colouring for a second. Who signed off on that colour grade?
Holy shit.
That was wild. That was like a student film.
Those are some crushed blacks.
Even I know they were crushed blacks.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about you. Taught me something, Michelle.
Yeah.
So crushed. So
Also,
black.
On that note, the highlights blown out as fuck.
Yeah, everything was very grey and black and I don't know. Yeah, it looked pixelated, even though it wasn't. It was just bizarre.
Well, I mean, this version was pixelated because it was lower than HD, the version that I sent you.
Right.
I couldn't find a higher resolution.
Well, it's the film's fault.
It was poorly shot. That's one of the things I think I really want to emphasize. It's really badly made. Like, a lot of these are really bad for a particular reason. Like, oh man, this was bad because people didn't like female superheroes yet. Or, oh, this was bad because they just didn't understand it. Trying to make a point. Every fucking week, I'm trying to, like...
I made a point.
Bam.
And I didn't even need to say anything.
God damn it.
There she goes, running her mouth off. Dumb slut.
This podcast is going to be the chronicling of how two women learn to hate each other.
Oh, I don't hate you.
But then...
Do you hate me?
But then learn to love again.
You hate little Abby? Little Princess Abby.
All right, now Big Abby.
Hello.
Now Demon Abby. Now Angel Abby.
Oh my goodness, that's so cute.
Now Angel and Devil Abby having a conversation.
Hey, how you going? Pretty good, how you going? Why don't you tell me all about it over a cup of little peppermint tea?
Devil Abby's really supportive.
Yeah, that's so nice. I've missed you so much. I miss you more.
Set up. Set up. Get back on track.
I was like, what do you want me to set up?
No. This movie is filled with weird little things. We haven't even mentioned yet, by the way, that like Biggs, the crime boss, was played by Bruce Willis.
Oh my god.
Giving the most distant performance of his career.
Yeah, okay. Just before we launch into Bruce Willis being in this film, what was insane was that 50 Cent was playing the protagonist and he had lots of like little odd voiceovers that were happening. And then he talks to the girl in the diner who's like, I pray to Jesus and I'm going to make it. And he walks out of the diner and a guy hits him in the back of the head and he turns around and it's that guy It's a snap zoom on a guy's face, and it just says the muscle.
Oh, the splash frames?
The splash frames.
Oh,
and then
my God.
he's like, sleepy time, and he cracks him over the head, and then it cuts to Bruce Willis, and it just says...
The mob bus.
The mob bus, and it's a splash frame, and you're like, wait, Bruce Willis is here, and it's the worst entrance. There's no gravity to it. It's kind of lame.
Also, the first, like, none of the intro characters, Sonny doesn't get a splash frame, Vincent doesn't get a splash frame. None of the characters get one until, like, you're 20 minutes in, and then there's, like, 3 within the space of 5 minutes, and never again.
Out of nowhere.
It's like 3/4 of the way through post, they watched Snatch, and they were like, we got to do that. We have to do that. And they were like, guys, we've only got like 2 weeks left.
The film kept making me forget there was ever voiceover. So every time it kept reoccurring, I'm like,
The voiceover that felt like a Mad Lib of enter in your favorite quote from something else. There's a point at the end where he's like, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, and I am my brother's keeper, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it out. I'm like, what? You're just saying parts of other quotes.
There's two scenes that he's in a church mourning his dead friend, and there's just a priest behind him, and they're having these really serious, deep back and forths about redemption, going to heaven, what it is to be a good man. And I'm like, oh my God, this is leaving like a syrupy taste in my mouth. This whole film. It was me going, ugh.
Watching this film really put in my brain like the smug face on the student who directed this at film school.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of their first ones, and they're like, man, I'm so fucking clever. But they're not. But in this case, they have millions of dollars. It's crazy. Like, it's such an insane... There's so many weird things. I also wrote down, like, the weird scene where they're chopping up the body. Because the guy shoots himself for no reason.
Again, they're trying to do like a little fucking Pulp Fiction thing where they're like, how will they get rid of the body? And they chop up the body and then they put it into a fucking, meat grinder.
Yeah, they give one call. They go to a guy called The Butcher who chops it up in a really weird graphic scene where he's removing body parts while talking about something, and women to go, that's disturbing. Then he puts it in a meat grinder. And by the way, he puts it in the meat grinder and instantly, like, 50 kilos of what is clearly minced beef, like, just emerge from the bottom of the meat grinder.
And then the voiceover comes back and he's like, no wonder I don't eat hamburgers. And you're like, what?
Like, this in this world, all hamburgers are actually human meat.
Yeah. I think it was like, and people ask why I don't eat hamburgers anymore.
It just struck me how much it was so clearly minced beef that came out like it had just been taken out of the packet.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But also the meat looked kind of brownish, like it'd been cooked mince.
I didn't think it looked brownish.
It looked browny.
Oh, I thought it looked... Well, I think it's just because it was probably out for a few takes.
True.
And like, that's the honest answer. And then there's so many like weird we started talking about Bruce Willis giving the most disaffected, I don't care performance of his career.
He just needed that paycheck, man.
There's one point towards the end where he gets like this monologue on a tracking in shot where he's talking about breakfast or something. He was talking about breakfast, right?
I think so.
He was like, breakfast is so important. Everyone's looking at their phones during breakfast, but they should be looking at the newspaper. I love the newspaper. The phone, and then this is what I wrote down. The phone, it's more unsyllabized. He fully says unsyllabized, and they leave it in the final edit, and it's so funny to me.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's so unsyllabized of you.
I wrote down the time code and everything. I was like, 43 minutes and 7 seconds in, he says, it's so unsyllabized.
Oh my God.
One scene later, he's in a limo with Sonny as they're driving over to Vincent to go get him or whatever. Who, by the way, Biggs just believes him. Sonny is telling a really obvious lie, and Biggs is like, all right.
Yeah. Biggs looks at him for a moment and he's just like, all right. California.
You know what they said? Come to Detroit, have a few laughs. Who's playing John McClane. In the limo, they're just sitting there for a really long time, and then he looks over and he's like, crime. And then they clink a wine glass.
I gave an hour and a half of my life to this movie, Michelle.
Crime.
You gave more. You had to look into it.
It's the most... Also, then afterwards, they do the shootout where they're all standing there. There's the guy who's just like, all right, I'll give Vincent over. And he's like, okay. And then everyone pulls out their guns for a whole I think Mexican standoff is the term, but it probably shouldn't be the term. It's one of those very American... You know how like all American slang pre-1950 is just a word, but then with a different ethnicity before it?
Yeah,
It'd be like, yeah, that's a Chinese run me down.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
it's an Irish goodbye. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so they get into the standoff, and then, especially because standoff already works, without Mexican at the front of it. And they're all standing there, and then one of them starts shooting, and you were gonna go like, oh, there's gonna be a shootout scene, and the shootout scene plays by all of them fully continue standing up exactly where they are, and they just go bang, 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 and just shoot. None of them even look like they're upset or angry or trying very hard. They're just sort of standing there, not really caring about shooting in general.
No, almost every line of dialogue that 50 Cent delivered as well was just like,
oh my God.
There was no emotion behind it.
No.
It was like, get on your feet. We're going. I have to go now. He killed my friend. That's all right, man. That's the whole performance.
Yeah.
I could have done that.
It is.
Replace me with 50 Cent.
I don't know,
guarantee
man.
you better results.
Yeah, I'm just trying hard. I gotta get revenge. I'm gonna go over here now.
My friend died. He's dead now.
As opposed to Ryan Philippe, who plays Vincent, being so, like, I feel like he had this, like, pressure headache because his whole face is, like, focused forwards where he's going, like, and every line he's like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, man. Like, he's physically in pain as he's delivering every line. Like, Mia comes in and she's like, I can't believe you haven't killed Sonny yet. And he's like, I'm trying to do it, you know.
My theory is that the actor was fed enemas while on set, and every take was him just trying to keep the shit in as long as possible.
Well, let me tell you, he did have a bad time. I saw nothing about enemas, but he did have a bad time.
Do research. Do better research. Just do better. Michelle.
Sorry.
Michelle.
Hey.
Good job.
Thank
Do
you.
better. All right?
I'm sorry.
If it's not enema related, I don't care. Can you just like let me know right now? Is any of your trivia enema related?
Let me check. No.
Yeah, bye.
No.
Yeah, bye.
I'm sorry. All right, I'll be cutting all 20 pieces of trivia that I meticulously researched because none of them are enema related.
20 pieces.
Oh, yeah. But
you
none of
spoil me tonight.
No, there's not actually 20 pieces of... Oh my God, I forgot what my favorite note was. You know how, like, there's that episode of It's Always Sunny where they do Lethal Weapon 5, and there's other shows, like in Friends, they do Mac and Cheese. There's, like, the show within a show that's really bad. This is that. This is the movie that plays in the background of a different show.
Mac and Dennis would have made this movie.
Yeah.
Mac and Dennis definitely would have made this movie.
Is no better than Lethal Weapon 5 in any way.
It's like two bros are hanging out on the couch in a comedy and they're having their own like actual conversation that's funny, and it cuts to this film sporadically of Bruce Willis being like, crime.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this is.
100%.
Because those are always just like, let's do all the action movie tropes, but this is doing it unironically, and I hate it.
This is the most, like, again, like, this film took itself so seriously, and it's almost unnerving as well. Like, I think halfway through I was like, maybe it's a prank. Like, maybe it's just a joke.
It does feel like a prank.
And halfway through they'll turn something around on you.
It feels like they're doing it as a bit. Like,
it was all a dream.
It would actually be kind of really funny if they weren't clearly like so enamored by it.
What if at the end of the film, like, everything wraps up and then it's like, and cut, and then it just like snaps to the director, and then we get like a little like
whip pan
epilogue.
over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get a little epilogue about like the cast and crew around them.
Nice. I like that. Or if they did the the penultimate episode of Community, how they had the whole scene with Briggs Hatton talking about incest.
Yeah.
I want them to do that with this, where they just like then like it goes to black and then it cuts to the director being like, "Hi, I'm here to talk to you about crime. See, what I really wanted to capture with the gritty streets of Detroit was how crime doesn't pay." And then I'd be like, now I get what you're doing. This is all a bit. It's very funny.
How many gangster and crime films do you think the theme crime doesn't pay is the theme? Like, obviously Goodfellas is one, because it's literally at the end him being like, it wasn't worth it.
I think the number of crime movies where the theme is crime doesn't pay is much smaller than the number of movies that think the theme is crime doesn't
true.
pay. Wolf of Wall Street is my favorite example of that.
Wolf of Wall Street is ridiculous.
And the theme of that is not crime doesn't pay,
Yeah.
because he's wildly successful.
He is. Have you watched it yet? Oh my God.
I still know all about it, though.
Because I've talked to you about this.
Well, not just you, though.
Yeah.
It's not relevant to what I'm talking about.
I know. It is. At the end, it's literally glorifying Jordan. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, we watched 3 hours of him being honestly the worst person in the world, and at the end, he's rewarded.
Yeah.
He goes to prison for a little bit.
He's also rewarded by you watching the movie.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
He gets money from that.
Yeah, people then started fucking, like, looking shit up about him and buying his autobiographies and, like, selling into his products. Like, it's ridiculous.
There was even copycat white-collar crimes. There was the Wolf of Broad Street, a guy in Georgia who tried to do the
God.
exact same thing.
Oh, my God. I hate that.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to touch on in this film, just because we're talking about fucking Wolf of Wall Street, the action films are just full of men that are peacocking. It's full of like really toxic masculinity. And this is another example of that, where it's like all these men that are super serious. They're sitting in the car. They've been like, bruh, oh, your woman's got eyes for me. And
Yeah.
like driving around and fighting with each other. It's just so masculine and it's so cringy. Like it's just so laughable. It makes men look like babies.
Yeah.
These kind of films just make you all look like children. It's
Like,
not cool.
The idea that this is played straight is hilarious because, like, as you said, it makes the audience look like a baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obviously idiotic. I can't imagine liking it genuinely.
But
you know?
you've done the research, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some fucking 10 out of 10 review being like, this is cool, this is epic.
I'll get into it, but before I get into that, do you want to hear some trivia?
I would die for some trivia tonight. Literally kill myself for some trivia
What?
tonight. If you asked me to kill over, I would put a bullet in my head and die for your trivia tonight.
So I spent ages writing all those new music interstitials, and you just
IMDb trivia.
yes.
Now we're back and I've got another song. Really
I'm
gonna
like,
overshadow your little song.
Damn
I've
it.
got a song and you got a song, but my song is better. Beep boop doo beep boop beep boop. Beep boop doo
Oh,
beep boop.
I actually kind of like this bit. Yeah.
Whoa.
So the trivia in this is a little different. Like, I've still got it written down like we normally do, but it's much broader because the making of this movie to me was fascinating and so weird.
Okay.
So
I'm ready. I'm all ears, Dal.
to get into some of the key people, the director's name was Mike Gunther. It was written by Mike Gunther and his writing partner Mike Berman. Mike and Mike. It was produced by Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, and Randall Emmett, who is Mark Wahlberg's former assistant.
Okay.
And
What went wrong?
Some other guy
Was it his
named
terrible attitude.
Furler,
Was
who
it
I
the
can't remember
Funky
his
Bunch?
first name. No, he became a producer.
What went wrong with Marky?
Nothing. He became a producer.
What happened?
It's a different job.
Have you got information about Mark
No, there's
and
no.
the Funky Bunch?
No. Mark Wahlberg is not related to this, other than that his former assistant
Had
is the
two
producer on this.
requests. Two. It was Mark Wahlberg and Enemies.
And you know that there's nothing I love doing more than disappointing you.
And you know that there's nothing I love doing more than Enemies and Mark Wahlberg.
You're just obsessed with it. I'm trying to give the audience a good time, and you want to talk about
I'm talking about a good time.
Eminem? Eminaz.
Oh, sorry, I'm still sick. I'm a bit coughy.
That's okay. I did actually used to have speech problems like that. I couldn't say anemone or ambulance for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. I would always say anemone and ambulance. And I'm not talking about when I was like 5. I'm talking about when I was 16.
Nice.
Anyway, so two of the key producers, Emmett and Furler, used another writer's rewritten version of the script so that they could lock in Bruce Willis and Ryan Philippe, then reverted back to the original draft in order to avoid paying the required Writers Guild fee to the rewriter. When Philippe showed up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and was given sides for the first day of the shoot, he went ballistic because it was not the film that he signed on board to star in.
Shit.
So they literally lied to Bruce Willis and Ryan Philippe with a better version of the script written by someone else and then didn't use that version of the script, so they didn't have to pay that writer.
Fuck.
But they'd already signed the contract, so they had to show up and continue doing the film.
So wild.
So that's why Bruce Willis and Ryan Philippe looked like they didn't care. They knew exactly how bad this movie was.
That's fucked, but 50 Cent was all over it. He was so on board.
Hey, he helped produce it. It was his fucking movie.
That's so shitty. That's
Yeah.
actually awful.
Oh, yeah. Like,
It's almost like if you got an office job and they like walk you around this really beautiful, like it looks like a startup. It's like got gorgeous views and like they have snacks in a cupboard and everyone there looks like really like young and professional. And then you rock up for your first day and they're like, and we're putting you in this closet.
it's almost every startup.
See you later.
Like when they're like, unlimited vacation. But then they do that so they don't have to pay you out any holiday pay if you leave, and then you're encouraged to not take it.
But I'm on a contract with a startup, so I am safe.
Sorry, startups are really fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I don't work for a startup. Fuck startups.
I do. I love my job. I have allegiance to the flag and to our forefathers and to my workmates. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Love you.
You guys are a pretty solid part of the listenership, so I think your business is an exception. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, no, you're individual people. You don't have to be. This isn't company time. Fuck that.
Michelle, let's unionize right now. Right fucking now.
Oh, there's nothing I love more than to unionize.
Yeah.
And that's not even a joke.
I know you're kink and it's unionizing. And mine?
It is a little
enemies, baby.
Well, that's why I love sex with two people. It's literally a union. That's why I love orgies. I'm going to use this trivia to pivot to the big one. There are 27 credited producers on this film.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Why did so many people have their hands all over this monstrosity?
Well, I mean, you can tell in the outcome.
Do they want to be
It was
tainted by it?
produced to a T.
Oh, it was immaculate. And 27 cooks really don't spoil the broth.
If I can say this movie did anything well, it was being produced. Because it was, in fact, made. Now, this was the bulk of my research condensed into one paragraph. So the director, Mike Gunther, was a stuntman for 20-odd years who later sold the concept for several TV specials about stunt work to MTV. Then he and his development partner, the writer Mike Berman, who once wrote the indie film Sex Crimes...
Don't know it.
wrote it. No one does. There was not even an IMDb entry for it, even though Sex Crimes is in his IMDb description. I just love that he wrote a movie called Sex Crimes.
Yeah.
They then wrote a film together called Beatdown, which came out in 2010, before going on to make Setup. The production company for Setup, Cheetah Vision, was made by Curtis Jackson and Randall Emmett, who I mentioned earlier, to make low-budget action movies. Setup was the first film in a $200 million deal between Cheetah Vision and Lionsgate to produce 10 movies for $20 million each, with Lionsgate's distributing. Because of that, the budget for this fucking movie was $20 million.
How much did it make?
2. They made 5 more of that deal already.
Also, going back to Sex Crimes, was the theme of that film Sex Crimes Don't Pay? I hope so.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Yeah, but at the end, really, the guy gets away with it. Because he's a young athlete. He's got a whole career ahead of him. The woman's
Yikes.
actually a bitch for trying to report him.
Oh, my
he
God.
just made one mistake. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's an insane margin, an insane loss.
I feel like that backstory, though, tells you everything you need to know about why this movie is the way it is. It was written and directed by stunt people and a guy who can't write.
Yeah.
At all. It also, by the way, the stunts in this movie, very poor.
Yeah.
Maybe the only good one was where the guy who originally owned the diamonds kills Mia by throwing her through 5 panes of glass. He literally just goes around her house finding every piece of glass and throws her through it and picks her up and does it again.
He does. And then she's like holding that glass in her hand.
Yeah, and
he grabs her hand.
crunches it.
I actually thought that was kind of cool. Like that actually made me go, oh, because he held her hand and you see all this blood squeeze out of it.
My girlfriend was looking over my shoulder and watching some bits of this whilst also doing her own work. And when the scene after Vincent comes back and she's dead, she was like, Why? How did Mia die? How did Mia die? She looked very hurt, but how did she die? Not explained.
No.
I guess she just died because it was very sore.
Hand glass really gets you.
Hand glass.
The hands are the biggest artery in the body, so it checks out.
But I can't believe this movie is, for one thing, made for $20 million. This movie feels like it was made for $80,000.
Yeah, again, it's a very student kind of film. Like,
Yeah.
it could have been made on maybe $50,000.
I don't know where that money went to apart from Curtis Jackson's fucking pocket.
We have to say this a lot about films, by the way, in that another thing about this film is that you're watching it and you don't really understand what's going on because the direction doesn't make it clear because the series of shots don't convey where people
Yeah.
are, what they're thinking, what they're reacting to, what they're seeing.
Oh.
That's a huge problem in this film.
This is the...
It's something so simple, but it is so crucial.
This movie is to cinematic language what illiteracy is to reading. It is spoken entirely in garbled language.
It was created by cinematically blind people.
Yes.
It was created by people that have never watched or studied a film.
But also, like, it's not like Mike Gunther directed a bunch of fucking short films and worked his way up. The guy doesn't know how to make a movie. He knows how to
Yeah.
coordinate a stunt. This is his student film. This is his fucking film school
But he just got
for $20 million.
Yeah.
And it's really bad.
Really bad.
Stop giving unqualified men tens of millions of dollars to make these fucking movies.
Hey, that's crazy talk.
It's like fucking Maleficent came out and it was a production designer. That movie cost $100 million. Why did he make the movie? He start him on something for $5 million.
What, you think you could make something better? You know,
No,
a woman
I'm
that,
not
that
qualified.
works in film, that's edited a couple of films already. You reckon you're more qualified?
If they
you,
gave me
a woman,
$100 million, I would say, why don't you give this to someone who has already directed a feature film? Please.
give me a humble $500,000.
They did the same thing. Wally Pfister, Nolan's DP, got given Transcendence as his first directed feature, and it was so bad.
It's really good of you, Michelle, but if someone gave me hundreds of $1 millions to make a film, I'd be like, yes, I will do it. I'll try.
Yeah, well, that's why we all watch Wally Pfister movies. Also, my headcanon about these real people is that Wally Pfister pissed off Chris Nolan in some way, and that's why he sabotaged his career. He DP'd every single one of Nolan's movies, and then Nolan was like, hey, why don't you take this one? And then he turned around and was like, oh my god, Wally, you're too busy to be on Interstellar. I'm going to go check out Hoyt van Hoytema. Oh man, it's going to be so rad. And then Wally was like, that's cool, I'm doing my own thing. And then the reviews came out, and he was like, what? And Nolan's sitting there, cigar in his face, going, I got you now. But then he smokes it in reverse or something.
I love this humble Nolan trivia. This Nolan goss for sure. This is the inside scoop.
I'm just very mad about the trend of giving, like, they're unqualified.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the very least, when Colin Trevorrow got Jurassic World, he was probably not qualified enough for an action blockbuster, and that might be part of why it sucked. But he at least had directed Safety Not Guaranteed. Like, he was a director who had turned a profit on a critically acclaimed movie.
Yeah.
I get that. Mark Webb, same thing. 500 Days of Summer, Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe too quick, and that's why the second one sucked. But, you know, at least he's a director. You could also get any of the female directors who have, like, way more experience to direct these giant features. But
What were the other 10 films in this deal, or 20 films?
there's 10... Oh, no, I have no idea. There was, like, 5 more have been made, and none of them are as notable. A lot of them didn't even have a Wikipedia entry.
Lame.
Now, this is my last piece of trivia. All 5 films directed by Gunther, because, like I said, he had directed Beatdown, and then he directed a trilogy called, like, Rogue Nation or something.
Okay.
All 5 films directed by Gunther have an IMDb score low enough to appear on this list, but only Setup has the 10,000 reviews required.
Nice.
Also, Setup is the second highest of those 5.
Fuck. How low does he go?
I think it was 2.1,
Oh.
which is lower, I think, than the lowest on this list.
I'd be interested to watch that, to be honest.
Me too.
This was insane, so I would love to watch something
Yeah.
that is apparently
this
so
is-
substantially worse.
This is what, 4.5? I'd love to watch something that's half as good as this.
100%.
Do you want to hear some reviews?
Yeah, baby.
Reviews!
So, similar to The Darkness, there was not a single written 10-star review. There was also not a single written 9-star review.
What are we working with?
8.
Okay.
Folks, the format of the review section might have to change from 10-star reviews.
I don't think we thought about the fact that we will obviously go lower and lower on the IMDb rating list, which means the reviews will get worse and worse and worse.
I don't want to change it away from IMDb reviews because I love that specificity, but also
Maybe we'll have to start doing
it can't be 10 forever.
Yeah.
So this is the first one. It's Don't Believe the Bad Reviews. It's a cool-off Hollywood action flick by Shlomotiver. Or Shlomot VR. Also, by the way, there is not a single capitalization, and there is only one full stop, and the commas have tons of spaces around all of them. I will not be translating that. Sure, this movie has some obvious disadvantages. Some B or C-list actors, plot holes, cliches, and so on. But it also has its merits. Nice cinematography, high production values, cool soundtrack. The use of unprofessional actors gives it an almost neo-realism flair. The locations, but most of all, I enjoyed the non-Hollywood feel, an almost anarchistic feel, I might say, of going off the platform of your regular blockbuster. 50 Cent is no Denzel Washington, but still he possesses some genuine quality that is hard to define. It really gives you some kind of weird rush that no mainstream Hollywood film would give you. 8 out of 10.
That rushes impatience.
Yeah. Also, Curtis Jackson in no way reminds me of Denzel Washington.
Yeah, I was like, do you have to compare
Yeah.
the black actor in this to a very notable black actor?
That's the only reason they made the comparison,
yeah,
right?
100%.
Okay. Also, I love how generous they're being neo-realism flair.
Yeah, neo-realism.
But, you know, plot holes, cliches, 8 out of 10. Don't believe these other guys. Ellipses.
I won't.
By Hump. That might be my favorite name yet.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Bad Gina is still up there.
Oh, that's true.
Bad Gina killed.
Well, I mean, by Star Wars Legends canon, that would be a clone of Hump. There's a little fucking deep nerd shit for the listeners.
Nice.
I
don't get it. I'm too hot and sexy, but explain it to me sometime.
Yeah, I'll fucking wipe the Cheeto dust off my fingers and explain it to you.
Oh, you Skull Mountain Dew.
The worst.
Headset stays on during sex.
I actually think that might be the worst thing you've said to me.
Yeah, I didn't feel good about it.
All right. Okay. The overall movie was good. Yes, the acting could have been better. And yes, the script could have been better. But if you stop critiquing everything
I hate that.
just watch the movie, I'm sure you'll be satisfied by the end. A few things didn't make sense, I admit, but the sequence of events are believable. I can believe a muscle man for the mob would shoot himself while playing with guns that aren't his, thinking he's such an expert on weapons. I can't believe a hitman found the protagonist in 2 days. He's a freaking hitman! That's his job, and he's good at it! I can believe the mob boss found his thief so soon. He's a mob boss! He knows everything! Criminal and high-paying. That takes place in his town or cuts into his money! No! There wasn't much action in this film, but the movie manages to keep your attention with other things, such as the characters themselves, the mystery of what's next, and how everything ties together, and things of that nature. Overall, I think this movie is pretty good and a good pastime. I'd definitely watch it again. After all, it's definitely not the worst action/crime film I've seen. I mean, hell, The Town was overrated, dry, and slow as hell. The robbery scenes were the only good ones, and it aired in theaters. Have an open mind when watching movies. Enjoy them for what they are, and quit looking for what's wrong with them. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. He's right. Stop critiquing and just watch the movie.
I mean, is this guy wrong? My favorite, it's definitely and things of that nature.
I love that these people in the reviews are like, stop just analyzing things, all right? Just enjoy the experience of it.
They desperately want to stop telling you the exact specific reasons that this isn't very good. Abby, what was your rating?
Oh, it was so bad it was fun. Like, it was fun. I could actually somehow watch it again.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Easy bad movie rewatch.
Yeah, it was only an hour and a half. Again, that's really important is the time. I've brought this up again and again.
I actually think we're starting to get to a point where I don't know if we're ever going to see longer than 90 again.
I hope so. It was short. It was enjoyably bad. It didn't make you actually want to like pull your teeth out. And again, it's funny, I was thinking about this, when we give our reviews, I'm like, here are the things that saved it, here's my review, and you're like, here's the terrible bits about it, here's my review.
Yeah.
But again, everything should be a 0 out of 10, really. But
Yeah.
this was quite an enjoyable one, and I laughed at how bad it was multiple times. And because of that, I'm actually going to give it... This isn't like an actual like good film score. It's how much could I endure of it, you know? Like,
That's
how
what
much
it's
did it affect
become
my mental
over time.
health? Yeah.
It's degraded. We'll have to go back and redo the first 30
Need
of
to
them.
reset. I would give this a solid 3 out of 10.
Wow.
3 out of 10.
Wow.
It wasn't like offensive. It didn't have a lot of like, I mean, it was kind of misogynistic, obviously, because it was just full of dudes, and like,
Yeah.
it definitely wouldn't pass the Bechdel test.
No, not even close.
Yeah. Sorry, Bechdel test. Sorry.
There's one named female character, and she doesn't talk to the other unnamed female character.
Yeah. And then she gets murdered.
And then she gets murdered for the
But
crime her brother
She
committed.
doesn't get like assaulted or raped, so that's good, isn't it? That's nice.
Okay, but that's not an up.
That's nice, isn't
That's
it? That's nice. Yeah, that's all you can really ask for at this point. I'm 3 out of 10.
Well, look, I get where you're coming from. I agree that I would rewatch it for a bad movie night, but it is incomparably bad. We're hitting the point where my low buffer of feels like a movie. This doesn't feel like a movie.
Yeah.
This feels like an alien trying to make a movie.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like a robot trying to make a movie. It's like an algorithm movie. It's you know those memes of like, I fed an AI 10,000 scripts and this is what it generated. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
I think it's a 1.3. It's really bad. But
Can I? Yeah. No. I feel a bit silly. Feel a bit silly.
no. Embrace yourself. Embrace yourself.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
Look, at the beginning, we set up, 5 is a good year, 2 feels like a movie, I don't know, 10 is a perfect movie, right?
3 is generous, but I think it's because I enjoyed watching it.
Well, over time, it's become different. You're grading on a curve, and I'm still like, what does it actually deserve?
Yeah.
We're on different scales now, baby. Well, that was setup. Don't forget to follow us on social media if you can. You can follow us on Twitter @RateDescendPod or email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com if you got any questions.
Or you can find us on our personal accounts. I'm Abigail J. Ward on Insta.
And you can follow me on both Twitter and Instagram @Michelle.St.
And don't forget to drop us a review on Apple Podcasts because it actually helps. And if you love us, you do it without asking questions. So just fucking do it, okay?
Well, Abby, what are we watching next week?
Well, Michelle, next week we'll be watching LOL, the Miley Cyrus teen rom-com, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, so I'm keen.
I'm keen too. I will catch you around the block, cool cat.
Yeah, I'm gonna be running. You're never gonna catch me.
My
I'm
legs are
way
so
faster.
short.
Look
They're
at
so
how.
scruffy.
Yeah. And
She's
my
so
legs
quick.
are moving like lightning. You can't even begin to find me. I'm gone already. Hey, whoa.